Welcome to the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship in association with ECU Master. The car's on their way around just now. Ron Cumming, the man on pole position, and he is alongside on the grid, as we can see, Keith Cowie, second row of the grid, Will Robson and Mark Dawson. Great to have Mark Dawson back, and the green flag already flies. The 5-second board goes out. We're under a quick start procedure here. The lights starting to come on the gantry, full complement of lights, and away we go. And a blinding start by Ron Cumming, and a very, very pedestrian start from everybody else in the TVR Tuscan down the inside. That is Stuart Robb, who has made an appearance for this event, trying to come up the inside, giving a little bit of room there to Will Robson. Cowie does hold on to that second place. It's as if everybody else didn't notice the lights going out, and the only man that did was Ron Cumming, and he is already disappearing into the distance as we get to Clark Corner for the first time of asking, and through he comes down the back straight, heading towards the chicane, chased by Keith Cowie all the way down. Cowie, very, very much a man who is making progress, thankfully, with this car. He's had a lot of problems with the car, but now he seems to have it online with a good bit of help from Mac Motorsport in Dundee as they make their way down, or back up, I should say, through Leslie's onto the top of the crest of the hill, over the top of Duffus, and away they go. Underneath that, Beatson's building supply bridge. Ron Cumming already starting to stretch his legs at the front and build up a bit of a big advantage. Cowie in second place in the Seat Leon Super Copa, ahead of the Focus RS of Will Robson. I did mention Mark Dawson, we've mentioned also Stuart Robb. We have got Andy Patterson, Duncan Steele and Nathan Dixon out there. Patterson once again in his trusty 318 BMW. Duncan Steele, the championship leader in his Toyota MR2, running in the B3 class, but leading the championship overall. And number 69, Nathan Dickinson in another BMW 318. But just now, as they make their way round through McIntyre's and start to head back up in towards Leslie's and over the crest of Duffus, it is once again Ron Cumming blasting onto the top of the straight here at Knockhill Racing Circle. Look at the gap he's built up already over Keith Cowie, who is in second place. Cowie trying his best to hang in there, but unfortunately just a little bit unable to keep up with the fast going Ron Cumming just now. running the Nemesis kit car in the A3 class, very much a class of his own here, when we do have other drivers in, well, Andy Forrest and Radical is for one. He puts up a very good fight to Ron Cumming, but Ron has to raise his game just that little bit more. Now, a few little puffs of smoke on the down changes there. Now, I don't think it was a lock-up, as Stuart Robb takes a very extravagant line in the TVR Tuscan in towards Clark Corner. I do know that Stuart has been having braking issues, so let's hope that that car is not going to fall into any issues later on in the race when things start getting a little bit too hot and things start getting a little bit too spongy, shall we say, as they come back again to complete another lap. Keith Cowie over the crest of Duffus Dip with a comfortable buffer over Will Robson just now. Having said that, Will Robson with the same gap over the TVR Tuscan. And the TVR Tuscan, back to the glory days of the Tuscan Challenge. Who can remember those days? They were pretty special, as the circuit commentator Robert Johnson would call them, a hairy-chested sports car. Big V8 engine in front of it. I can't remember, I think it was a 3-litre engine in the TVR Tuscan, or was it bigger? No, it was about a 4.5-litre engine in front of one of those cars. And Stuart Robb bringing it out of retirement, we could say. The likes of Mike Jordan raced those cars, and a few good other people in great series. Martin Short, another very good man. Michael Caine, the names just keep coming to me when you say one, they all start falling back. But there goes Ron Cumming underneath the Beatson's Building Supply bridge here. And the gap between Will Robson and Stuart Robb definitely coming down. Stuart Robb on a bit of a fight here, and Stuart Robb is no mug. He comes from a hills and sprints background, and well, he normally contests a Pilbeam with a 3 or 4 litre V10 Judd in the back of it, so the TVR Tuscan will probably feel nice and easy to drive, one would imagine, compared to the Pilbeam with its carbon fibre monocoque. But let's get back to the front, because Ron Cumming is now starting to slice his way through the traffic here. He's gone past, well, he's got the championship leader just ahead of him now. Nathan Dickinson has been passed, and then Duncan Steele will be the next man in the MR2 Toyota. And Duncan, through just putting together some fabulous results, very consistent, winning his class, finds himself leading the championship as they get towards the business end of the year. We're at the front or last step of the podium. That's what this battle's for. Look at Rob now coming round the outside. That's not really overtaking place, but he's lining up Will Robson as they come on to the straight. And away they go underneath the Beatson's Boring Supply Bridge. Rob pulls out. He's side by side as they go into the hairpin. Will the Focus have the better braking system, or will Rob manage to take it? Cowie goes through our shot just now, and there the TVR Tuscan up into third place now. He gets on the last step off the podium as we make our way around towards Clark's. Looking down from the commentary box, there goes Keith Cowie in towards Clark's. Good braking zone, good braking line. Stuart Robb heads in as well, and if anything, you could see the brake lights pumping on that car. Could you see that? So Stuart Robb starting to possibly have some sort of braking issues. When you need to pump the brakes before a corner, it's never a good thing. Really bad, especially if you're in the actual braking zone and you're having to do the pumping on the pedal. Cowie goes over the crest of the Duffus Dip, and now has Duncan Steele just ahead of him. There goes Rob. These cars all sound fabulous. Over the crest of the hill towards the hairpin. Stuart Robb has pulled away now, and look at that. Behind Will Robson comes Mark Dawson as the race leader comes up behind Andy Patterson to go through Clark Corner. So Mark Dawson in the white Seat Super Copa is all over the back of Will Robson. Will Robson under more pressure as Duncan Steele stays well out of the way, heading towards Clark Corner. Those two guys go as Rob goes over the crest, still with some sort of brakes in that car, which is quite a good thing. Down the back straight they go towards the chicane. Through comes Nathan Dickinson in the BMW 318 IS, his sister car to Andy Patterson. You see Hazel Patterson out there as well. Hazel not here this weekend. And can Will Robson sustain or withhold this pressure, I should say? Can he keep it going? Can he put an error the way off Robson? Will he force him into that little mistake? Well, he usually has a bit of pressure in these races as Keith Cowie comes through just now. Quite a distance off the back of Ron Cumming, but also quite comfortably ahead of the TVR Tuscan as it sits just now as we come round towards, once again, through the hairpin, they head towards Hislops, and this is the view from the inside down to Clark's. Ron Cummings already gone. There's your second place man. There's the third place man with a big wobble going in there. Stuart Robb Jr. That was not Robb Jr. Stuart Robb goes off. Oh, into the gravel he goes. Now, was that purely because he couldn't get the car slowed down in time at Clark? But we saw Stuart having a big sideways moment before that, and that could just be because there wasn't enough brakes there. When you are having to pump them, they might come back a little bit more fierce than you first anticipated. And Stuart Robb finds himself going wide into the gravel trap. Big shame there, very big shame, because he was sitting pretty for a podium slot overall, and looking good for getting second in class behind Keith Cowie. Keith Cowie in the Seat Leon Super Copa and Stuart Robb in the TVR Tuscan, both guys in A2. Mark Dawson also in the A2 class just now. He's fallen just off the back of Will Robson. So Will Robson's either found a little bit of pace, or Dawson was a bit more cautious when Stuart Robb went off at Clark Corner. Thankfully, the car managing to get out of the gravel trap, and he hasn't dragged any gravel back on the circuit, which is also something very important as well. Making the circuit nice and clear as we see Keith Cowie coming back up through Butchers in towards McIntyre's area. Lovely flowing section of the track as you come through the chicane there. You've got to get the chicane absolutely spot on, otherwise it doesn't feel like a nice section of the track. But it all flows into one another as it does the other direction. As round the outside of, is that Nathan Dickinson going down another lap? It certainly was. That's Ron Cumming, car number 9, Nemesis kit car in the A3 class. The 2-litre engine in that car, and Duncan Steele, the next man, about to be under the cosh, put under the cosh of the hard charging Ron Cumming. What's Ron done lap wise? Let's have a look at our Edinburgh Watch Company smart timing screen, and it's a 52.7 for Ron Cumming, and that is the fastest lap of the race, and that has stood since the second lap of the race. A 52.7 from the second lap of the race, so Ron's obviously come out very quickly, then knocked it back off, and he seems to be circulating in the very high 52s and low 53 second bracket around Knockhill in the anti-clockwise configuration. Keith Cowie, best lap for Keith Cowie, 55.4 just now. But Cowie's still pushing on as hard as he possibly can as they go once again over the crest off the hill in towards the hairpin. Cowie gets past Andy Patterson before they get there. Downhill braking zone, very tricky all the way in there. You've got to really make sure you get the car slowed down, otherwise you don't get into the hairpin and it runs you wide there. Then you could be vulnerable in the run round towards Hislop's and Clark's as we look down upon the iron and blue liveried car of Keith Cowie, the blue and orange, number 13. Not many people choose to race with the number 13. Some people are very superstitious, but Keith Cowie embraced that number, and away he goes through the chicane, and the bollards all still very much in place and intact just now. Well, Robson has managed to just slot Andy Patterson between himself and Mark Dawson. Will Mark slide past the McIntyres? Yes, he will. Does Andy Patterson make it easy? Yes, he did. That's a very good bit of driving from Patterson there to not impede Dawson as they go over the crest of the hill onto another lap. The guys all just started to stretch their legs and also stretch out in the positions that they're actually in now. As through the hairpin comes Will Robson in the Ford Focus. We wait for Ron Cumming, though we just see him flashing past at the top of Duffus here. He'll be the next car into view. Sensational drive for Ron Cumming. He comes over the crest of the hill, checker flag. A nice, solid, smooth victory for Ron Cumming there in a total time of 10 minutes and 51, which is pretty impressive for a 12-lap race. We wait an eternity, almost 30 seconds for Keith Cowie to come through, and he will be the next car into our view, we would imagine. I think the lap traffic has been dispensed with. So Keith Cowie, we wait. Checker flagman can hear something coming. Oh, it's actually Duncan Steele that pops through. Nice flash of the lights for Duncan Steele. Then we have Keith Cowie coming through. And to round out the podium, it will be Will Robson. He had a big enough gap over Mark Dawson. Those guys both over. Patterson, Steele and Dickinson round out the runners.
So Ron, overall winner there, and you had fastest lap as well. Are you quite happy, or was it a bit of a boring race for you?
The latter I think applies here today, but I think when Andy Forrest gets back and the other radical comes back here, I'm sure like it would have been a great race today if they'd been here. Disappointed they didn't turn up. I mean, we're all out here trying to do an honest job for the SMRC, and I really enjoy coming to Knock Hill. It's where I started, and Ingliston in here was where I started, and I think this is where I'd like to finish. But today it was enjoyable, but a little bit boring.
And how do you find reverse direction?
Yeah, reverse direction's all right. Like it's just great that Knock Hill's able to hold that. You know, like there's a couple of things I would change in it, like, but it's not for me to say. They'll do it themselves.
Okay, thanks very much, Ron.
All right, thanks very much again. Thank you.
So Andy, winner of Class B3, quite happy with that result?
Yes, after an absolute dreadful start where they both just about get past me, I managed to pull it back down the back straight, and after that it was pretty plain sailing. Very happy.
And how do you find reverse direction?
I love reverse direction. It really tests the brakes, so it tests your bravery into the corners too, so it's good fun.
There's quite a lot of more. I find there's more blind corners going reverse than there is normal.
Absolutely right. There's no landmarks to pick your entry points and whatnot, so it does make it's more technical, but I enjoy it and it's a good change.
And any tactics for race 2?
Yeah, get a better start, I think.
Well, best of luck with that.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Keith, P2 overall, but had quite a momentous or a huge moment at Clark's. Just talk us through that.
Yeah, I had a bigger one at the chicane. I almost went round in a circle. I'd lost the front brakes and I'd a lot more bias going to the back, so I was having to treat the brake pedal very cautious, hence it was wanting to turn round on me. And I just tried to keep forward momentum to get past the back markers.
Reverse direction, it does work your brakes a lot harder, especially coming into that hairpin down there.
Yes, I've done reverse direction quite a lot, and I quite like it, to be honest. It's never been an issue before with brakes, so we maybe just need to go and have a look at the levels.
Wind them back a bit.
Yes, or wind the driver back a bit.
Well, best of luck for race 2.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Race number 2 for the Scottish Sports and Saloon cars, just about to get going on their warm-up lap, making their way around. You can see a little bit of kind of dirtiness on the circuit there. That's from a previous engine blow-up. Gypsum dust has been put down on the back straight, but it won't affect these guys. Front row of the grid again, as ever. Ron coming on pole from Keith Cowie. Will Robson. Yeah, you're asking, where is Mark Dawson? Mark Dawson is not there. He's a non-starter. Out goes the 5-second board. The lights start to come on the gantry. Let's see if Cowie can get a better start in race 2. Lights out and away they go, and again Ron Cumming gets a good start, and Stuart Robb again in that TVR Tuscan gets a cracker of a start down against the pit wall. He's coming down the outside all the way into the hairpin as Ron makes it round the hairpin in the lead, and yes, Stuart Robb gets himself up into that. Looked like it could have possibly been third position as they head towards Clark Corner. Ron Cumming just pulling away at the front majestically. Those puffs on the overrun will be a little bit worrying, one would imagine. He'll probably see that in his mirrors, and that will be something he'll want to action for the next meeting. Never the best thing to have smoke coming out an engine. That usually means that there's some sort of oil getting past a valve or something and burning through the exhaust. So not the greatest for Ron Cumming, but it's not stopping him, it's not slowing him down any, is it at all? He did manage an extremely fast lap time in race number 1, where he was doing 52.7, but he done that on the very second lap of the race. Let's see what he can do in this one. 52.7 from the first race. We have seen Ron be quicker, as we see Stuart Robb ahead of Will Robson and behind Keith Cowie. Keith Cowie will see that TVR Tuscan behind him now, and it will be an unknown quantity to him because he doesn't know about Stuart Robb's car, and he's probably a little bit wary about what's going on here. He's been battling his own issues, as he told us, from race number 1. Keith Cowie with a bit too much bias to the back, but I'm pretty sure in that seat you'll have a bias adjustment valve, which you can actually you could probably turn and sort that mid-race, but you've got to be very careful with how many turns you do, because a few turns too many and it can really upset the balance of the car. So brake bias adjustment probably happening throughout the race on not just his car, but I would imagine Stuart Robb's car as well. Ron Cumming flashes through the shot just now, as does Cowie. Listen to this. Those cars sound fabulous when they're up at full racing speed. And through we go. Now, is Ron Cumming slowing down? Has he maybe seen that smoke and is just now starting to worry because he doesn't have as big a lead as he did earlier on? Keith Cowie, very much a man on a bit of a mission. The Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship, an association sponsored by ECU Master, which a little bit shy on numbers this weekend, but sometimes it's like that. We have weekends where we have 30 of them, and then a weekend just now where we only have the 9 cars in total. And Stuart Robb still fighting his way through the twisty part of the circuit ahead of Will Robson, and this is where Will really will start to rein him in a little bit. They'll get to the straights and the focus will just lose out a little bit on the straights, but Will Robson's car's not slow, that's for sure. It's a fast bit of trick kit. That's over the crest of the hill we come. Let's watch Keith Cowie on the brakes this time. Yeah, look at that. That's too much rear brake. That's effectively like pulling the handbrake on at round about 90 to 100 miles per hour. I wouldn't advise it on the road, and I would imagine inside the car there'll be a kind of a twitchy bottom moment every time that happens. So Keith needed to put a few turns on the bias valve and get the braking back onto the front if he can do that. But that's a horrible, horrible thing, and you know when that's happening because you can look in your mirror and see lots of smoke, and it feels just a little bit strange when you're driving the car and you have that happen. As Cowie comes through the chicane, and Stuart Robb starting to drag Will Robson up towards the back of the second place. Keith Cowie just now, Stuart Robb's fastest lap of the race, 55.633. Will Robson's fastest lap of the race, 55.4. So Will Robson faster right now than Stuart Robb, even though he is behind him. So the car's obviously working completely different ways around the circuit. Robb looks like he can stretch his legs a little bit on the straight, and then Robson catches back up through the twistier parts. Keith Cowie's best lap, 55.3, so Keith, in fact, a 55.2 on the last lap round by Keith. Going by our Edinburgh Watch Company smart timing screen. As we see the BMWs, the MR2 coming through the chicane. It's Andy Patterson, then Duncan Steele, then Nathan Dickinson in that order. And then Ron Cumming starting to slice his way through the traffic already. So Ron has not backed off the power at all. He's not lifting up, coasting and taking it easy Last lap round 52.2, so Ron faster in this race than he was in the previous race. And just look at that car into the hairpin on the brakes, it looks properly planted. Going up the inside of Andy Patterson, mirror signal manoeuvre, and away goes the Nemesis kit car towards Clark's. Not only is it fast in corners, it's good in straight lines, great in braking, proper much an all-round set-up little car. As we see Dickinson heading towards Clark Corner. So let's try and catch up with the Cowie-Robson battle if we can, or the Cowie-Rob and Robson battle, because Will Robson all over the back of the TVR by the timing screens the last time through. The TVR again a little bit wide through Clark there. Now is that Stuart Robb starting to suffer with more braking issues, as Duncan Steele is going to have to let Keith Cowie go as they're coming towards McIntyre's. Duncan keeps his racing line, gets through the corner, and Keith will power past. Oh, again another mistake for Rob there at McIntyre's, and that's let Will get all over the back of him as they come up over the crest of Duff. As well, the Focus have enough wound up energy to try and catch that 4.5 litre TVR Tuscan Challenge car. Blue flag waving for Duncan Steele as they go in towards hairpin. Keith Cowie slithers past Nathan Dickinson and makes a very well executed manoeuvre there. Oh, and side by side, we just saw them going through our camera shot. Will Robson was on the outside because Stuart Robb defended towards the hairpin, so good move from Rob, keeping his corner covered. But as we see them from Clark from a distance now, brake lights on, and brake lights were staying on solid there on Stuart Robb's car. That's good to see. So let's hoping, or he's hoping that he's managing to not have to pump the brakes as Duncan Steele. So a big fat nearly coming through Clark Corner there. That was very, very lucky actually. The car very sideways into view, and quite a few people have been caught out there this weekend by doing just that. Then the car will snap back the other way and send them into the gravel trap. And Cowie goes underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge, chased by the last man on the podium. Then fourth place Will Robson. Remember that car number 9, Ron Cumming, leads the way at the front just now. And Mark Dawson, car number 4, didn't start the race, Mark Dawson. And we've also lost Andy Patterson. He's showing as completed the third sector, but he hasn't actually completed the lap. Or the second sector, sorry, but he's not completed the lap. So Andy Patterson, car number 26, has disappeared someplace. Not the best for Andy. After being on the podium in the class win, we saw him in a post race saying that he does like reverse direction when he was quizzed by Fiona. As we watch once again Stuart Robb and Will Robson, and Will Robson's making a move here, isn't he? Will Robson really is like looks like he's setting Stuart Robb up. He'll know that TVR Tuscan is having brake problems because he saw it in race number 1. So Will Robson will be trying to pressure Stuart Robb as much as he possibly can to drive really fast, and hopefully the problems show up a little bit earlier. As Keith Cowie, I was away to see Keith Cowie's obviously adjusted the bias there, but he obviously has, but he's still needing to put another maybe turn or two on that there, because the lockup was a lot shorter than the previous 150-yard one. That was just maybe a little 50-yard lockup there, but it's all things that you've got to monitor when you're a driver in the car. As going towards Clark's, brake lights on the TVR Tuscan on and off there, so there's a pump happening in that car by Stuart Robb now. And it takes so much confidence away from you as you enter a corner. Before you've even hit the brakes, you're just hoping that they work. Never mind actually then braking, then starting to pump the brakes towards the actual corner itself. We saw Stuart Robb getting caught out with that in race number 1 when he just ran out of brakes going towards Clark's. The car did slow down, but he was too wide. The car looped into the gravel, but he did manage to rejoin and get away from it. But yeah, it really isn't the best. As we see Ron Cumming going down the back straight, and he has got a 30-second lead over Keith Cowie now, and he's just done a 52 flat on his last lap round. So Ron Cumming is flying round Knockhill reverse direction, 52.060 seconds on our Edinburgh Watch Company smart timing screen, and he comes up behind Dickinson at the top of Duff's Dip and makes that count and passes him on sheer power underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge, as we see Stuart Robb still ahead of Will Robson. And this is a battle which has been raging on for the entirety of the race, as we see Keith Cowie just flashing out of shot. Keith has done a 55.2 on his last lap. That's the best lap of his race, 55.262. Did he do that earlier on? I need to check back on that one, but Keith has pulled a gap, and the gap is now staying over Stuart Robb. And Stuart Robb has only a couple of laps left to try and hold off Will Robson. Can he do it? well, it will be pretty close no matter what. As into the hairpin without a lock-up, Keith Cowie. A lot better that time. And he accelerates through Hislops towards Clark Corner. We pick up with Stuart Robb and Will Robson. Those names fit pretty well together as they're on track together. It's quite handy. Down through Clark Corner, you could see there more rubber in the tyre march heading out towards the exit curb there, and a few people have been taking a bit more than just the exit curb. You can see the mud's all nice and flat caked, so people have been running wide down that back straight, but nobody in this race. They've all been extremely well behaved, I've got to say that. Apart from us seeing Stuart Robb have a bit of a moment of collapse, but that was more mechanically induced. We haven't seen very many people hitting floppy bollards and doing anything silly as Cowie powers past. Menacing skies in the distance, but sunshine above Knockhill, and that is the last lap board getting held out there. The top left of our screen, we could just see the fingers and the board. It's either that's a penalty for somebody, but I believe that's the last lap board. As we leave the hairpin with the leaders, Ron Cumming flies out of the top of Duffus, powers up towards the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge, goes over the start line, and there's the checker flag at the finish line. Ron Cumming does a lovely double at Knockhill, and he was much faster in race number 2, 7/10 of a second faster on his best lap, and that's a lot of time. But we pick back up with Keith Cowie now, and there's a big lock up there from from Stuart Robb, sorry, as Stuart Robb comes through the Butchers McIntyre's area, out of that into Leslie's, but it will be Keith Cowie that holds this one towards the line. There goes Stuart Robb, and he has a big moment coming over the top of Duffus though, so has he cost himself that second place or third place? Cowie's got second, side by side on the line. It goes to Will Robson. Will Robson takes it by less than 1/10 of a second from Stuart Robb, who finishes in 4th place. He will be kicking himself after that one. 69 Nathan Dickinson and 14 Duncan Steele in 6th place run out the complete grid, and yeah, cracking race that. Robb will be waving to Robson as they head towards Clark's. And let's hand down to Fiona for some post-race interviews.
So winner of Class B3, do you have a good battle out on track?
It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and it's my last race of this season, so that's me. I finished for the season. My fiance's having the last race for this season, and then we'll make a return for next season.
So you're going to make a comeback next year, both of you?
With her, sorry, what?
Are you both going to come out next year?
Yeah, again, team entry, but different class, so yeah, looking forward to it.
It's a shame that that's you done for the season, but have you had a good one?
I went off with a good end of it, so I'm happy with that.
Perfect, well congratulations, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you, cheers.
Here with Keith, the class winner of A2, and you've made some changes to your car since race 1, is that right?
Yes, the brake calipers, all the pistons, the seals went on the calipers, so the guys from Mark Motorsport had to rebuild them in between first and second race, so thank God we had a brake pedal, and the car's now running a lot better, so yeah.
Yeah, you need a brake pedal for reverse direction, especially going down into that hairpin.
Oh, definitely. Breaking into the hairpin, it's definitely hard on the brakes, and especially more so with the Seat because it's a DSG and you've got no gears to slow you down as such. So it's very hard on the brakes. That's what killed them in the first race.
Well, at least you survived.
Yes, I survived, and another class win, the second overall. So quite happy with that.
Yeah, you've had a very good day, so well done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bit of a lonely race for you there, Ron. You've got a quick car though.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to try and keep the thing going, give the spectators a value for money. They came through the gates, they paid their money, so it's up to me to put a show on. So I think I did. I was probably driving 8/10, but you know, I think it looked quite spectacular. If you were around at Clark's and saw that thing coming out the other side of Clark's, you just wonder, you know, is it going to stick?
I mean, to see this car flying towards you, they make them a bit worried.
Anyway, it was an enjoyable weekend. The weather stayed nice for us, and I'm looking forward to coming down to the next one.
Good. Hopefully the weather will stay fair in October.
It'd probably be snowing, but okay, it'll be all right.
Perfect, thank you.
Well done.